Hey everybody, this video is for you if you are looking to get into your next multifamily or any type of investment here in real estate space. I am Carl Krauskopf and I have been flipping and owning multifamily property for nearly a decade. And again, we live here in Seattle. I wanted to introduce my team here, Dominic and Augustus, who are going to help make this investment the best one. In fact, it's going to be the deal of the decade. I am so enthusiastic and passionate about this project. I think you will be too. Dominic, go ahead, buddy.
My name is Dominic Wood. I'm a real estate investor in Seattle. I've been building, remodeling, and buying real estate for the last decade. I saw this deal from Carl and I thought, wow, this is the deal of the decade. I gotta be in on this one. And I was super excited to be a partner with Augie as well.
Hi everybody, it's Augustus Bukowski. I've been doing everything in real estate over the last 15 years, from financing almost $500 million of real estate, building and developing multifamily real estate from 10 to 50 units, built luxury housing, etc. When I saw this deal that Carl brought to me, I said, I need a piece of that. Reason why? It's getting for under replacement costs. There's an easy strategy to make profit, and if I can make profit, I can bring you returns. All right, everybody, I'm here to talk about the best investment over the next decade. And it's something that we all know, it's multifamily. I know everyone's been doing multifamily for the past decade and decade before that, but that's because it remains one of the best investments in history.
So this is the deal of the decade that we're talking about. But for those of us investors who are coming out of the single family space, why do we want to invest in multifamily? And why is this the deal of the decade?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Dominic, because I got to tell you, we're dealing with what I call the great rebalance. And what that is we're rebalancing expectation for price. And right now we have the lowest level of affordability in over 2 decades. The thing is that people are still sitting on the sideline thinking it's going to get better. Rates will fall. I'll be able to afford the home I want. Reality, average home is about $700,000 in King County. If you were to buy that today with a 20% down payment, your monthly payment would be $4,500 per month. If you wait for that interest rate to come down 1% so you can buy that home, and over that period that property goes up 10% in value, your payment's still $4,500 per month. Here's the reality, guys. If you cannot afford that property today, you cannot afford it tomorrow. And so what are we doing? We're creating the greatest generation of tenants that we have ever seen in this city. Sure. And what are they going to do? They're going to flood into our multifamily buildings, which is going to increase our rent. At the same time, mortgage rates are going down and making our property more attractive and give us the ability to generate you more return.
So it's the deal of the decade. Let's talk about the actual deal. Give us the numbers.
So the deal is a 1920s build, solid building, all updated systems, everything from plumbing, electrical, fantastic. It is an incredible property. It has high occupancy. So we're going to be going in, cash flowing day one. What we need to do to execute that value add plan, cut costs.
Awesome. So how do you cut costs on a building that's been operating and running 100% occupied?
Great story. So one camera in this building generates $1,000 worth of expenses to the current management.
That's crazy.
Now that's $1,000 for one camera that has not had a single instance of burglary or anything like that, no issues with it. And so what are we going to do? We're going to go in, install some Ring cameras at a whopping $30 to $40 per month. And what does that mean in terms of value on the back end? Well, assuming a 5.5 cap rate, that's about $225,000 on the back end for replacing one camera.
So every $1,000 is going to equal $225,000 in value in the building. And there's multiple ways that we can reduce the expenses.
Absolutely. So the camera is the easiest one to think about. There's insurance, there's general and admin expenses, there's marketing, there's a ton of different things that we can go in. And again, the camera is the lowest hanging fruit.
Okay, so this property is in downtown Seattle. It's in Belltown on 5th Avenue, right underneath the monorail. But why do people want to live and work in downtown Seattle?
It's a good question, Dom. And I got to tell you, whether I'm buying and building a luxury home or multifamily development site, I look for homes that are in a neighborhood commercial center. Belltown is one of the oldest, most historic neighborhood commercial centers in this city that's been well established even since when I was a kid. What do I mean by that? It's surrounded by world-class restaurants, coffee shops, bars. It has 5-block walk to Amazon HQ. You're 2 blocks from Seattle Center and the Space Needle if you want to catch a show or go to the ice hockey game. This is the type of thing that our tenants in Seattle want, and they're flocking to these areas to make sure that they're going to not only live in a great atmosphere like this building, but they're going to be surrounded by all the amenities that they could possibly enjoy in our city.
So let's talk about the rent. So living in downtown Seattle is not really cheap. It
Sure.
can be expensive, but this is a studio building. Every unit's a studio. What are people paying? What's the rent roll looking like?
Sure. So we are going to maintain below $1,400 of rent per month for these units, which is going to maintain a huge affordability for these tenants, which we're excited about. When those tenants move out, we're going to go on and do some minor updates like kitchen cabinet hardware. That's about it. And then we're going to keep increasing the rent marginally over the next 3 to 4 years.
The coolest thing that when we went and toured the property is every unit's already been updated. The
Right.
current management's updated all the floors, the cabinets, the countertops, the bathrooms. It's already done. So we don't actually have to put a large of expense into remodeling each unit, just a little bit of fresh paint, and the next tenant can move in really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the exciting part about it because it's going to be quick turnovers and further decrease vacancy.
So fully rented, reasonable pricing, fully occupied.
I mean, that's just amazing. We're gonna be operating sub $1,400. We live in a city where affordability for a 1-bedroom unit is about $1,900 a month. That's barely affordable for even people who make money, and let alone they're not gonna have the money left over to save for buying a home. This property type, we're seeing more and more. Even people who have big salaries go to studio apartments so they can save for that house, or they can travel, or they can buy the nice car, or live the life they want to live. And so these properties are getting more and more rare, and your only alternative to get to this price point is live in a shoebox that's 125 to 200 square feet.
Right.
We've all seen the apartments and Sea-Doos. That's our competition here, folks, and we're double that on average across the board. So if we're delivering a easy, affordable property in a great A-plus location that even has parking, we're going to beat all the competition. That's been a key to my success. Provide one of the most affordable options in one of the best locations, and everyone else has to come down to your level where you maintain that high occupancy.
I think one of the cool features about this building is our deal to buy it, why it's the deal of the decade, is it's less to buy than it would be to build this building brand new, right?
I gotta tell
Can
you,
talk a little bit about that.
I gotta tell you, I have multifamily development properties that I have in my own back pocket that are my personal investments. And what did I have to do? Just like all the biggest developers, because when you actually understand the economics of multifamily and development, you have to make choices. And most of us put a lot of properties on pause because right now construction cost exceeds the economic value of that property based on rent. This particular property, I could not rebuild this property for the cost per square foot that we are purchasing it at. If that is the case, that means we're basically getting the land and a portion of the building for free. That automatically makes sense. People ask me all the time, how do you invest money, Augie? Well, I find a $100 bill that I can buy for $70. People say, where do you find it? I find it right here on the MLS with Carl, and we negotiate those terms to make sure that that is exactly a $70 purchase for a $100 bill.
Now that's such a unique situation because when you presented this deal, I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy. You're buying this building at a discount. Why is the seller even offering it to us at a discount?
Sure. So seller is offering this because, I mean, they've owned it for damn near 30 years, right? 27 and a half years. They've owned it, they've operated it, and look, if you look at their portfolio, this is the smallest property that they own. They are operating 600 unit complexes and they are fantastic. However, they want to get out of this project because they know they have bigger and better things to do. Our job is to go in and improve it and get it to where we want it to be.
Now this is a seller finance deal. Everyone's heard that key phrase, seller finance, and that's pretty cool because we get a low interest rate on this, right?
So this is a seller financing deal where we're getting 5% interest-only payments for 5 years. That's $13,500 per month. Now, compare that to a $45,000 per month income. It's pretty fantastic. Sign me up for that deal.
That definitely attracted me to this project because this thing can spin off cash flow day one. And if you're putting money in my pocket, the number one thing I learned when I first started this career is it doesn't even matter what happens to values. If you're bringing in cash flow and your asset isn't worth what you owe on it, you're still collecting a check. Now, obviously, over the cycle, it's going to be worth more. So even the people who got hurt in 2007, if they held their properties, they made profit today. Everything's a 10-year cycle, and we just restarted that cycle. So we're reset, and right now we're about to skyrocket, and particularly multifamily just like this.
Yep. Especially in the location. You know, I think we're going to see some tailwinds coming up with the city council re-election. We've had a lot of change up from the mayor standpoint, city attorney, and I think we'll continue to see a lot more with the re-elections coming up later this year that could certainly put us into a better and more business-friendly environment that, again, is going to attract more investments from out of state, right? And so those out of state dollars are going to come in, they're going to continue investing into the Seattle core. Business is going to continue to boom. And what is that going to do to our values? It's just going to keep skyrocketing it, bring more tenants, bring more demand for rentals.
So how is this thing going to perform? I got some money. I want to park it into a multifamily deal. What's this deal look like?
So we're looking at a 4 to 5 year hold period on this project where we are going to be paying quarterly distributions to you every quarter beginning the first year.
Awesome.
And at the end of the hold period, what does that mean? That means your dollar, every dollar you put in, it's going to come back with a lot of friends.
Gotta love that.
Well, I gotta tell you, there is one more thing about this deal, and I think it's important to understand why people want Seattle. Okay, if you look at markets, I just got back from Oklahoma City. Talk about a place that made me feel even more special to live in the Pacific Northwest. I talk to people about industry out there. They have some industry, right? But us, we have biotech, we have aerospace, we have space, we have tech, we have every tech you could imagine. We have import, export, we have Starbucks, we have Costco. We got everything you could imagine right here in Seattle. And so we are not required to have one industry support our entire city. And all of those industries are high paying, and all of the industries that support those industries are also high paying.
Right.
And that's what demands that our rent is high, and I want to invest there because I know at the end of the day, if someone does not pay rent, if someone does not pay their mortgage, it's because they do not have a paycheck. And in this city, if you lose your job, you are getting another job that can replace your income seamlessly.
And even exceed it too. I mean, that's a great example.
So this is the deal of the decade. We're cash flowing day one. We can't replace this building for the same cost, and we have a way to reduce expenses. Carl, what am I missing here?
Just this. Where to register, navigate over to gold-mf.com. Find yourself on the investor portal where you can access and learn more about the deal itself. You can schedule a 15-minute conversation with me where we can answer any and all of your questions. We'd love to have you on this deal, be a partner with us. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.